Hey guys, how's it going? This is Mike from Mandara Automotive. Today we have a Tesla Cybertruck and we've installed a curved Pro Series 40-inch light bar. It offers powerful white light as well as amber DRL. So let's start with the install. The first thing I like to do is take out the front liner. And the reason we're doing that is when we're routing the wire, we're going to be connecting it underneath this liner panel. So what we're going to do, let's go ahead and remove everything from here. Take off these two covers. There's one on each side. Now we're going to remove these 4 bolts that are holding the front down. Next thing we want to remove is the top trim panel. It's just held by clips. And I just want to show you all the clips that we removed in order to take this piece off. There's 2 10mm bolts that are holding the front liner here. So here's one and the other one's on the other side. So the front area also has one plastic latch on each side. So what you want to do is kind of wiggle it around and turn it counterclockwise until it unlatches, and you just pull them out. So that's one. You just wiggle it. That's 2. So now we can technically pull it out, but we need to take account. There is a wiring harness here. There's a button. So lift up the driver's side panel, and there's a harness here. You just want to pinch it, wiggle it side to side, and pull it out. And there's also a windshield washer cap that's going to be in the way of you pulling off the front. So what I like to do, I just kind of remove it, put it to the side, we'll reapply it later. Now we just pick up the whole front area and remove it from the truck. Now we're going to remove the factory plastic covers. I'm just going to grab it where the inside of the hook is and kind of just wiggle it upwards and forwards. And they're just held on clips, so it should make it fairly easy to get out. Here you go. Just unclip everything and get out the way. So here's the M&R brackets that are going to replace the factory plastic inserts. So we're not going to be reusing these. We're just going to replace them with the M&R version, and the light bar is going to sit in between these 2 tabs. So let me show you how to install it. So let's go ahead and take out this bolt. This is the thread that we're going to be using for the M&R bracket. So now we're going to use the M&R bracket. We're going to use the supplied hardware bolt as well as a spacer on the back of the bracket and thread it in here. I'm not going to tighten these all the way. I like to put the light bar in between the M&R mounts and do these bolts last. So let's do the same thing on the passenger side. We're going to take out this factory bolt. We're going to thread the M&R hardware, put the spacer on the back, and install it. So now that the mounts are installed, let's go ahead and route the wiring and install the light bar in between the tabs. Now that we have the brackets installed, it's time to install the light bar. But before I do that, I like to pass my wire through it and route it so that way there's no slack and the light bar can be pushed towards the grill. So what I'm going to do, there's a foam part right here. I'm going to feed my wire right behind it as I come out where the tow hook is. So first step, I'm going to feed it this way. And now, if you look up, you're going to be able to see some light for the front. So I'm just going to feed these wires in that opening. And I'm going to catch the wire on this side. There it is. Super easy. Okay, now that we've taken all the slack out, I'm going to pull on it. And it's going to allow us to mount the light bar closer to the grill. So let's go ahead and get our mounting bolts. This is good. Now that the light bar is mounted onto the brackets, we're going to go ahead and tighten these bolts. Okay, so let's start with the wiring. What we're going to use is a step-down converter. The Cybertruck is actually 48 volts, so you cannot connect 48 volts to a 12-volt light bar. It's going to burn it. So what you want to do, you want to get a step-down converter. The input voltage is 48, the output voltage is 12. So we need a plus and minus on the 48 volt, and that's going to produce us plus and minus on the 12. So this side goes towards the Cybertruck, this one is towards our light bar. We're going to use an auxiliary switch that is turned on by the display. So you do have the wiring actually in a bundle here in the front. Tesla provided you with a power wire. There's actually 3 wires in here, and let's take a look. Take off the blue film. Let's go ahead and take off this electrical tape and see what color schemes we have. So we're looking at the wiring. The red with the blue stripe is the positive for our switch, and then the brown with the blue stripe, that's going to be our ground. So that's how we're going to wire it up to a step-down converter. We're not going to worry about the green wire. I think it's some kind of communication cable, which is not power, so we're not going to use it. So once again, the red is going to be our power, and the brown is going to be our ground. We're going to take the tips off, and I'm going to install crimp connectors. So I'm going to put a crimp on the brown. I like to double crimp to make sure that the wire doesn't come out. And I'm going to put a crimp on the red cable. So what we're going to do here on the 48 volt of the step down converter, we're going to use those two wires. So we're going to go red to red, and we're going to go black to brown on the 48 volt side. I like to tug on my wires to make sure I have a good crimp. So just to recap, we went red wire to red wire on the input, brown wire to black wire on the input on the 48 volt side. On the 12 volt side, we have the yellow wire, which is the positive, and then we have a black wire, which is the ground. So these are going to go towards the light bar. Now that we have the step down converter installed, let's go over the wiring of the light bar. So with the Pro Series light bar, you actually get three wires. You get the red wire, which is the positive for the white light. You get the white wire, which is amber DRL backglow, and then you get the black wire, which is the ground. So the Cybertruck has one auxiliary button, so it sends one power source. Our light bar has two different functions, so it requires one power source each. So what you can do, you can eliminate one of these functions and just connect a red and black to power the white light, or if you want white and black, that's just going to be the amber DRL. If you wanted just white light, you'll just connect black to black, and then connect yellow to red, and you can see that it's powerful white light. If you just want amber DRL, then it's black to black, and then white to yellow wire. So you get the amber backglow. If you're okay with a single function, you can just connect the two wires to the step down converter and you're done. However, because the Pro Series light bar does have two functions, there is a way of keeping two functions and only using one switch. What you would have to do is turn on the switch inside the cab. That's going to illuminate the amber backglow. We're going to install this module and wire it in parallel to the wiring, and that's going to turn on the powerful white light and overpower the amber backglow. So let me show you how I can do it. So now that we have a step down converter installed and we have a 12 volt power supply, inside the cab, when you hit the switch, it's going to send power, a 12 volt power to the amber DRL. We can use a wireless remote to cycle in between two of the functions of the light bar. With the help of this module, we're capable of turning on the powerful white light and cycling through the two functions. So this module we purchased on Amazon, and I'm going to show you guys a link in the description of this video. It is not included with the M&R kit, and you can purchase it separately. Okay, so let's start with the grounds. I'm going to take the ground from the output of the 12 volts, and I am going to fuse it with the ground of our switch. And that's going to provide the ground for a light bar. Okay. And from the light bar, we're going to connect that to the black wire. We're not going to be using the ground from the output wire of the switch. The switch is just going to turn on the positive wire to turn it from amber to white. Okay, the yellow wire, that's going to be our power wire, and that's going to also power the switch. So we're going to fuse that with the white wire, which is the DRL on one end. And the other end is going to be the switch power. So whenever you're turning on the switch inside, not only is it going to power the amber DRL, it's also going to provide power to this module. And through this module is how you can turn on the positive for the white light, which is going to overpower the amber, and only the white's going to show. So this is done. Now we need one more crimp connector. The output of the module, that's going to be the power wire for the powerful white light. We're going to crimp that with the red wire of the light bar. I know it might be difficult to follow, that's why I'm going to provide you guys with a diagram. The grounds, we connected both grounds together here, and we brought it over to the black wire of the light bar. The power wire is providing power to the white wire of the light bar, which is the amber DRL, as well as the module. And then the output of the module, when you turn it on, sends power to the red wire, which is the powerful white light. So let me show you exactly how that's going to turn out on the truck. So when we come into the Cybertruck, we're going to click the home button, we're going to hit on outlets, and we're going to turn on the front power feed. When you turn this on, and like I mentioned earlier, it's going to turn on our amber DRL. Let's go see how it looks. So the amber DRL is supposed to be on right now with the way we wired it, and it is. And because it's sending power to the switch, with this remote, we can cycle from amber DRL to powerful white light. And we can cycle, if you turn it off, it goes back to the DRL, turn it on, white light, turn it off, DRL. If you want to turn off DRL altogether, you got to do it from inside the cab. And that's how you install the M&R 40-inch Curve Pro Series light bar that offers 2 function while only using 1 power source from inside the cab. Thank you guys for watching. I know you're going to love the product. So after firing up the light bar, we've noticed one thing. You are not able on the screen to turn on, off, on, off, on. So I've tested that theory by turning it off, and I still saw voltage in a line. It's not the module, it's not the light, it's the electrical system of the Cybertruck. So look, right now we're showing 0 volts. Okay, I'm gonna go turn it on. So the light bar is on. There is 48 volts going to our module, and you can see it on the voltmeter, 46 volts. But when you turn it off, it's gonna go out gradually. So technically it will not allow you to cycle on off multiple times. You're gonna have to wait a minute in between for all the voltage to drop. I'm gonna turn it off on the screen, and then we're gonna hop and track the voltage. Now it's off, and let's go check on the voltage. It'll still have some voltage going to it. Here, see 8, and it's going down. 7, 6. If you decide to use your light bar, leave it on. If you turn it off, you know that you need at least maybe a 1-minute cool down period in order to turn it back on. It's not a constant on off like a normal 12 volt system. On a 48, it needs time for it to actually drain all the energy out.